I'd say just really plan it out, because I didn't.
Okay.
I came here with a one-way ticket, with no money. I can't really think about the things that I might miss, because just the sense of kind of fear and intimidation that is always present as a black or brown person in America is gone.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Melanated Files. My name is Ranzo and I'm your host, and today we're joined by Bobby Moses. Alright, you guys may have seen him from some of our family events. Remember the violinist? So we're gonna get into Bobby's story right now. So I want you to introduce yourself to the world. Tell them who you are and why you came to Japan.
Well, if you're in America, a lot of people call me Adriel or Adriel, depending on which coast you're on. And internationally, I'm known as Bobby because it's much easier to pronounce. So online, you can see me as Adriel Bobby Mo. I just put it all there.
Yeah.
And basically, I am in Japan for family and for music and entertainment.
So tell them what you do, right? I know you play a lot of instruments and stuff like that. So let us in.
Basically, I started as both a tap dancer and a violinist at a very young age, and quickly started to perform professionally with both of those crafts. And from there, I moved to New York City, where I went to school and studied, and started to perform more. Played at many great stages, you know, like the Apollo and BB King's, where I used to frequent. And from there, I started actually farming. And that became a big part of my life as well. So actually that's another reason why I'm in Japan, is also to continue the farming lifestyle. But for now, I'm in Tokyo focusing on music and family.
Okay. So guys, right now we're gonna show you a quick clip of Bobby playing the violin, like masterfully playing the violin at one of our family events. What did you guys think? That was amazing, right? So this is Bobby, right? And I keep telling him, I'm like, man, you're so talented. Like, you need to do more, put more out there so the world can see it. So you're here for family and also to pursue music as well, right?
Yes.
So what drew you to Japan? Like, was there something in your heart that drew you to Japan itself, the country itself?
It's interesting. I always, from a very young age, had this feeling that I would live in Japan.
Okay.
And I don't know why, because the only exposure I really had was the typical, anime and video games. And I don't think that was enough to make me feel like I wanted to be in Japan, but it was like this feeling that I would.
Yeah.
And maybe I just knew it was my fate. I never expected to marry a Japanese woman, and I certainly wasn't looking to, but that's what happened. I met my wife in New York City.
Okay.
And we later got married and moved out of New York and started farming in different places around the United States. And I wanted to get back into music, and I felt a little bit stagnant in the US. So I felt like Japan, I think Japan is going to be this turning point for me in my career. And so now I've been here for almost a year, actually just about a week away from a year.
Oh, wow.
And already things are starting to pick up. So I feel validated that I was correct in that sense.
In making the move, right?
Yes.
So tell me, like, how has music been so far in Japan? Like, your pursuing your music, how has that been?
I'd say creatively, it's been great. I kind of came to Tokyo with no plan, just to visit a friend of mine, and he happened to be a part of the reggae scene here, and he just kind of pushed me straight into the deep end of the reggae scene in Tokyo, which is full of a lot of great musicians and people. And that's been a great experience for me to get my kind of roots and good friends. But professionally, it's it's not where it needs to be. So now I'm trying to delve into other scenes because I play jazz, blues, hip hop, rock, pretty much anything besides Western classical at this point.
Okay.
Even though I'm trained classically, but yeah. So it's been good. I played the Sumida Jazz Festival, and that was a fun experience. I got to play some festivals in Nagano, up like at the top of a mountain. During Obon. That was great. The first show I did was crazy. It was right in front of the National Diet, like right in front.
Oh wow!
It was kind of a protest show actually, with a big Jamaican sound system.
Yeah.
It was very surreal. I was actually kind of like, ooh, should I be here? I'm like applying for a visa right now. I'm just gonna.
Oh wow!
But it was cool. It was great.
How has your experience been so far in Japan overall? Like moving from the States. Was this your first time in Japan, by the way?
It was my second time in Japan. My first time I came to visit for just 1 month about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
To meet my wife's family.
Okay.
And as like the tail end of a trip, kind of to a few different countries that I've wanted to visit, including Thailand.
So how has your experience been so far, right? You've been here this time. Officially, you made the move.
Yeah.
Right? So Japan is home now.
Yes.
Do you miss the States at all?
I miss some friends. But I can't really think about the things that I might miss because just the sense of kind of fear and intimidation that is always present as a black or brown person in America is gone.
Okay.
And when I think about living in the US, that's the first thing that comes to mind, and I can't go back to that. So I don't know if I'll stay in Japan, but the way things are in the US, I can't imagine going back to live there, unfortunately. I do miss my family and my friends and certain food and availability of things, but it's...
Your safety is of paramount importance, right?
Yes, at least my sense of safety. I mean, of course, you have more natural disasters here and some things, but just, my sense of safety and well-being and calm is much, much better. It's a different reality.
Wow, that's big because a few people share that same sentiment, right? I hear it a lot, and I'm pretty sure you guys have heard this a lot as well.
It's your color. It's all that matters to them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter even like people will argue statistics and this and that, but it's the mentality. It's a reality. This mentality is driven into us so deeply from birth, and to finally be rid of that. And it's taken me months to really get it out of my system. I used to see police cars go by here when I first got here, and I would get that initial visceral sick response. And that's what really made me realize how deep it was. And I've been stopped by police here on numerous occasions.
Okay.
And I've had to fight that response.
What's the usual reasoning behind stopping you?
The first time it was just kind of, I thought it was profiling, but I think it was a combination of profiling and just randomness late at night, because the first place I was staying in Bubaigawara, this guy stopped me on a bicycle. And actually...
Were you skateboarding?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, because skateboard is like a magnet.
Yeah, I would understand that. I was just sitting at a bench late at night and using the free Wi-Fi to call my grandmother.
Okay.
And yeah, I was actually really lucky because I didn't have my passport. I wasn't a resident, so I didn't have a Zaire card or anything.
Okay.
And he ended up calling immigration police.
Wow.
And they took me in an unmarked car. I'm sitting in the back seat with two police, and I told them, I said, if this was in the States, I would be afraid for my life right now. And they looked at me like, really?
Wow.
They drove me home to show them my passport. And they just said, well, make sure you carry this with you from now on. They could have arrested me.
Okay.
In the States, that would be the best outcome if I was arrested.
Wow.
Right? And the second two times it wasn't profile, it was just like driving in a car and I think in Tokyo, because of the Olympics, they're kind of being more proactive with a kind of a stop and frisk type of policy.
Okay.
And this is with Japanese. I even noticed the same station where I was stopped the first time, other nights, Japanese people were getting stopped too.
Okay.
So it wasn't just because I'm a foreigner or because I'm brown or whatever. You know, it's just a thing happening. Yeah.
So what do you think personally is the general attitude towards black people in Japan? In your experience so far?
You know, my experience has been mainly positive.
Okay.
I guess I'm lucky in the sense that I really haven't noticed any negativity, and that could be a combination of the fact that I'm just oblivious, or that since I'm just used to it. Because growing up, you know, I'm very mixed, and it was not so common
Very
in the U.S. Yeah, very.
When you say very mixed,
I'm like the UN in one person. Yeah, and
I've never heard that before. Okay.
But you know, we used to get looks as a family. You know, I'm just used to those vibes, and like maybe by now I don't even pay it any mind. Of course, I get looks, and you know, I usually just look at people and smile. But yeah, I haven't had anybody. The worst thing I've had is had a friend of a friend want to touch my hair.
Tell me what is your ambition for life in Japan? Where do you see yourself 2 years from now?
2 years from now, I see myself on a farm in Inaka, in the countryside, with a freshwater spring right beside my house, or within very close walking distance, and beautiful vegetables and plants and trees, and wild animals everywhere. And then, you know, I might blink my eye and I find myself in Tokyo, Osaka, or anywhere in the world playing music, and then being ready to get out of there and go back to nature.
Yeah. Do you think it's easier to live sustainably in Japan versus the States in terms of living off the land and things like that? Do you think it's easier here in Japan than in the States?
It's hard to say because I haven't really taken that step to living off the land in Japan yet.
Okay.
But I think in terms of finding land and finding a house, definitely. Yeah, I'm sure anyone who's been interested in Japan and the countryside have heard of the akiyas, these abandoned houses that are in the countryside that can be anywhere from free to very cheap or even subsidized. You might even get money from the government to renovate these places.
Wow.
So I think for me, in terms of wanting land, it's much more realistic looking here than in the US, where the land is either expensive or it's been ravaged by, you know, hundreds of years of toxicity or mining or, you know, chemicals, whatever, you know, so many different problems with a lot of places in America right now, unfortunately. It was such a beautiful, beautiful place, and there's still some left, but we're losing it quickly, you know, and this is not just America, around the world.
Yeah. So tell me about family life in Japan, right? So you're living here with your wife, right? You have a baby on the way, right? What's that like? Your wife is Japanese, living here with your wife, what's that like? Is it different living with your wife in Japan, she being Japanese versus her being a Japanese person in the States with you? What's the difference?
Well,
if there's any.
My situation's maybe kind of unique because my wife and I are very different than the norm. So she feels very alienated here.
Okay.
And I think she had maybe a similar but different feeling in the US being a foreigner, where, you know, certain people just won't even bother trying to engage her because they hear an accent or her grammar might not be perfect. Whereas here it's like, you're not really Japanese almost because she's been gone for so long. She's treated that way, or she doesn't know, you know, the keigo or the proper way of saying some things in certain situations. And in terms of us living together, actually it's been kind of interesting. We spent so much time together in the U.S. and here is the first time where we've actually had some time apart, where she was working someplace outside of Tokyo for a few months and. Or staying with family in a different part of the country. And I've been kind of in Tokyo or traveling around. So we've actually had a little bit of space, which has been interesting. But I think it's been good because it's made us both realize, yes, we really do love each other and we want to live together.
Yeah.
So now we're really focused on building a base for ourselves and our soon-to-be family, which I'm really excited about.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
what's a common misconception about Japan? Maybe you can talk about what people that don't live in Japan think that's false, or a misconception that you had before you came that you realized was erroneous.
I mean, I personally try to keep an open mind from experience, but I can definitely tell a common misconception from a lot of people is that Japanese people are kind.
Okay.
I don't think Japan is any different in terms of the people from anywhere else in the world. You have your beautiful, nice people, and you have your wicked people. Maybe Japan is better at hiding that, but yeah, people definitely wear a very strong facade here.
Okay.
But not everyone is a humble, quiet, and polite person here.
That's true.
And I think that's people kind of expect that when they come because of maybe media or what they've heard, and it's just not the case. That being said, people, for the most part, they're definitely keep to themselves more and are respectful when outside of the train station of your space more. But yeah, people are people wherever you go.
So tell me, you are a musician, right? Do you think it's easier to pursue music in Japan than it was in the States? What do you think the market is like, or the landscape for creatives who are musicians in Japan?
I haven't spoken to that many foreign musicians here. Most of my friends and people I know are Japanese. But I feel like now it's changing, but historically there haven't been a lot of foreigners, so it's definitely much smaller ponds to be a bigger fish in.
Okay.
As for me personally, what I do is already so unique anywhere I go in the world, so I pretty much get the same reaction no matter where I am.
Okay.
But I think it's a little bit easier here because there's just slightly less number of people competing.
So less competition, right?
Slightly less, but that's changing quickly, especially like in the modeling game, because I just started doing that, and there's a lot of people who look similar to me who are modeling. So, yeah.
Any advice for people who are looking to come here?
I'd say like coming to live or just coming to visit.
Yeah, well, visit or live, to work.
If you're coming to visit, definitely, like most people say, get out of Tokyo, go see the countryside, go to the north, go to the south, and talk to people in the countryside, because you might be the first foreigner they've ever seen, and they're very curious, and I think it's good to start a good dialogue with people. If you're coming to live, don't be like me. Don't come with no money and no plan. It might have kind of worked out for me, but I don't know if it will work out for everyone. I'd say come with a little bit of savings and be focused on why you're here. Because many people come here and they don't stay. They might stay 10 years, they might even stay 20 years, or less. They end up going back for whatever reason. So make sure there's a real strong reason why you're here, not just to get out of wherever you are. Because it's a big, small world. There's many places you can go that will be best for what you're trying to do. So make sure that Japan has something to offer that you want to pursue. Otherwise, you're going to hit a lot of roadblocks, because it can be very difficult just to find a place to live here. I can't even imagine not being married and having to navigate the visa process, because you're restricted in your work here based on what you come here to do for work. So I'd say just really plan it out, because I didn't. I came here with a one-way ticket with no money. I sold my car a week before I came on Facebook of all places. And I just came with inspiration from a friend who had lived here, and because my family, because my wife. So that was my reason to come. I felt like she needed to be here, and we should spend some time with her family here, and that it would be a good place to start a family. So tell me about the process really briefly, because you said you came here without like money and stuff like that, right? So tell us about the thought process and your initial maybe months in Japan. Wow. So take us down memory lane. Yeah, I was like just about a year ago. I came thankful to my sister for the $2,000 she loaned me, because I was able to survive on that for 3 months because I could not work. And you can't find work if you don't have a visa here, unless you really want to go down a dark path.
So you had a tourist visa?
I had a tourist visa when I first came.
And then you changed it over to like
a marriage visa.
Okay, so that took like a few months.
That took, it took at least around 3-4 months.
Okay.
And I had to leave the country twice in the process, actually. Because I had to buy a ticket to Thailand before I could come to Japan, and I was hoping that I would have my visa upon returning from Thailand.
Okay.
It still wasn't ready, so then I went to New York and came back with the visa after coming back the second time. But the first 3 months were great. I landed with my wife and her family, and they didn't know I was coming here to stay.
Okay.
So I quickly was like, well, I guess I won't impose on you guys. Let me go visit my friend in Tokyo who graciously invited me into his home.
So your wife came before you?
Yeah, she came just like a month and a half before me.
To work or?
Just to spend time with her family by herself. I wanted to give her that space because it's different with me, like having to translate and her family thinking about me. Like they take really good care of me and I love them. I love my family in Japan. They're the best. But I don't, I know that they're being hospitable. Like I want them to be comfortable too. So I didn't want to impose on them.
Okay.
So I stayed with them for about a week and a half or two. And then I was very lucky to have a Japanese friend who invited me into his home in Tokyo for a week. And from there, I found a place to stay, and I found another place to stay, and I found very helpful people who let me stay there for free and for very cheaply. And that's the only way I was able to stay. And then I started playing music in the reggae scene, like we said, and that led to other things. And then started looking into modeling and work that I could do besides teaching English, which I do teach some English privately. And I work part-time now singing in English for little children, which is a lot of fun. But really trying to focus on entertainment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the decision to come was impromptu, right? So you just came and then so you had to work it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, understood. So unique circumstance, but at least now progress. Right?
I'm validated. Like I still feel like it was the right decision.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta take the plunge.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I've had to do this a few times in my life now. Like the first time was leaving New York, and the second time was moving to the West Coast and becoming a farmer. So maybe I'm more comfortable with it, with just kind of blindly going into something and trusting my intuition.
But you advise people to maybe not do it the way you did it.
Yeah.
Because it could be a little bit easier, maybe.
I think so. I mean, yeah, it hasn't been easy. Like I've really struggled since coming here. There were a lot of spaghetti dinners and rice, and there was definitely a lot of hard times. But so if you're not prepared for that, and you don't have a vision and a goal, because I had a vision, like I didn't have like the steps, but like I knew what it is I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I was living for that, and I've been living for that. Now it's just starting to get better. I've done my first big modeling job, just got paid for it today.
Okay, nice.
So I'm starting to feel like, okay, the things that I said I was going to do, I'm doing.
Yes.
It might have taken a while. It might not be enough right now. I might not feel like it's enough, but it's a step.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes a sacrifice is necessary, right? Like sometimes you gotta like go in something blindly, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta do that, right? And it's like if you don't do it, you won't get it. So you gotta like make the step, right?
Definitely.
Take the plunge, right? So sometimes it's necessary for that's a fact. Right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't be too comfortable.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you're too comfortable, then there's no growth.
Yeah. You can't grow it. You can't. It's like a seed. It has to die and then burst for the tree to emerge.
Yeah.
Right? It's life. Right? So tell them where they can find you online. If they want to reach out to you for your music and other things, where can they find you online?
The best place right now is Instagram. Adriel Bobby Mo. It's Adriel Bobby Mo. I'm starting to try and upload more things on YouTube. The same channel, Adriel Bobby Mo. And I got to get on TikTok, man. That's That's like the thing now, right?
TikTok.
So you can find me on TikTok soon if you're into that. If you're not into that, get into it now, because apparently it's just like, Facebook was and Instagram was. Now, the older generations are always getting onto things later. Now I'm part of that older generation.
Yeah.
And Facebook as well. Bobby Moses is my private page, and then I have a music page, Adriel Bobby Mo Music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and remember to subscribe to this channel for weekly videos on the Black experience across the globe. Until next time, bye for now.